How we doing, everybody? This is Let's Be Real Brad, and today I'll be starting my new James Bond series. I'm doing all the Eon productions of the James Bond movies every Tuesday, leading up to No Time to Die, April 2nd of next year. Hopefully that date stays, and I can watch all of these movies. So Dr. No is the first James Bond movie that was adapted from Ian Fleming's novels. Came out in 1962, starring Sean Connery. This movie was definitely very influential in the spy genre, and Sean Connery absolutely nails it and really sets precedent to the rest of the franchise because he has that nice classy demeanor and he's very mature and very quiet at times, but hits you with the nice punches when he talks. Definitely gets the job done every time. And of course it's adapted from the novels, but when you're watching it in a film, you have to set that different adaptation in place, and that's why the rest of the Bonds do kind of take similar aspects to it because everyone loves Sean Connery's Bond. And as far as I can say, I think he does an awesome job in this movie. He really is the biggest standout of this movie, and I just truly enjoy him in this role, and I can't wait to see the next couple of Bond movies with him in it. But I also think this movie works well is that this movie had a very small budget because they didn't know how big this movie was going to be. So it had and with inflation, a $9.5 million budget, which is very, very low considered with the other Bond movies that we're going to see later that were very action heavy, explosions, tons of choreography. Those movies are very expensive. So this movie, they kind of focus more on the spy aspects of like the little tricks here and there and, trying to read people and not to get caught into a backstabbing situation. They do a lot for what they have, and I think they did a really good job of that. When I first watched this movie, I really didn't like it, but also it's because they really had a small budget and there really wasn't a lot of action. And I think maybe because I had only watched the Daniel Craig series, I didn't know what to expect going into this, and so I felt kind of underwhelmed. Now seeing it again, knowing how the movie's going to go, I really enjoyed it a lot more this time around, and it definitely is one of those things that you kind of have to understand the influence and what it was trying to do and what it had to do for the rest of the Bond movies. I think the story is pretty solid. I mean, you don't really feel any kind of tension throughout the movie, and it's definitely a criticism of mine, but I think this is like a solid introduction kind of movie that you want to know the character, you want to know the stakes that are involved, you want to know what particularly you're going to be dealing with, so when you get the next couple Bond movies, the stakes can go up higher, and that's where I think this movie is really enjoyable in that aspect. You really do got to pay attention to what the characters are saying. When I first watched it, I felt very confused, and I think because I thought there's going to be a lot more action to break that up, but a lot of it is due to very subtle hints that happens in this movie. They don't really spell out everything, which was something that I really found enjoyable for this movie. The writing is solid, like I was talking about before, but there are times where it doesn't feel like it has any weight to it. It feels very disposable in many parts of this movie. The writing's just kind of there just to move the movie forward. It's not bad or anything. I just think it's really average and very mediocre for me. I think the directing is pretty solid. It has that 1960s directing style where you see a lot of long shots of people walking outdoors. It's just people walking all the time. There's not a lot of cuts, I'd say. There's a lot of long, drawn-out scenes. And it was definitely something I had to get used to and had to do a little bit of research on of that time period. And that's kind of my whole thing with this movie, is trying to understand it for its time. And sometimes it's kind of hard for a movie like this when we've seen so many other James Bond movies that are just so incredible and so great, and you're going to this. So if we're going to go for some negatives here, I think that Dr. No is a good villain on a premise, but doesn't really do anything. Kind of just offers exposition, and he's just, part of something that's going on, but doesn't really feel like there's anything else to it. And it just felt very disappointing because I thought he was menacing in the introduction scene. Really is no character arcs for any of the characters, and that's fine. I mean, it doesn't necessarily bother me, but those two aspects together really don't keep me truly involved in this movie, and sometimes it kind of took me out of the movie. Good points. Also, the pacing, I think, is pretty solid. It's enjoyable, but I think once you get to that second act, towards the end, it really slows down, and it just seems like they didn't really know what else to do. I feel like they had to add a couple scenes to keep the runtime going a little bit, and then once you get to the third act, then it gets really enjoyable. So that was something I wish that they could have did without. Maybe hasn't aged as well, but I think this movie does a better job, and it feels like it really sticks to the story as much as it can, even though it doesn't have those really great and emotional action scenes and really great awesome set pieces. But this movie really does try with its story and trying to make a really classic Bond spy movie, and I think it works on all those fronts. Also, this movie is very influential in its opening sequence with him shooting the gun, and you have the amazing theme song that is truly incredible. This movie also introduced the idea of a bikini. Yeah, I did not even know that, and that's pretty cool. And now this is now the Bond woman. She definitely put that out on the map, which is also a criticism that I totally forgot to mention, that she's just not a very good character. She's just in there just the sake of being there, just of being a sex symbol. And I guess those James Bond movies have kind of had that. I don't know. I mean, I guess for its time, I get it, but I just didn't really care for her. Like, if she wasn't in the movie, it wouldn't have changed a single aspect for me. I wish she was a little bit more utilized in this movie. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm glad I rewatched it again, and this is really a great start to the Bond series, and I can't wait to watch From Russia with Love next Tuesday, and I'll give you guys a review for that. I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. Let me know, have you guys seen Dr. No? What is your favorite James Bond movie? Or even put your rankings down below. I want to see which ones I need to look forward to, or which ones I don't need to look forward to. Please like and share the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It means the world to me that you guys have liking my videos. Subscribe to my channel. You guys are the best. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.